workshop for April 9th. Let's call this meeting to order. And first up is the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Right. Thank you, everyone. Do we have anybody on Zoom?
I sent John a link,
Okay.
but I don't think it's realized.
Okay.
On the plane.
He's on a plane right now. What's that?
Yeah, Mimi has to be on. Did you send
It's
to
a-
Mimi?
Mimi never sent me she didn't tell me she wouldn't be here. I can send her one now, though.
She had said she might be able to, but maybe she.
I think she's also traveling, and traveling right now is
Okay.
difficult.
I can still send her one nonetheless.
Okay. Well, we have everybody here. So next on the agenda is public comment. This portion of the meeting is specifically set aside for comments from the public, who are asked to limit their comments to 2 minutes. Any person interested in providing public comment via email should email publicmeetings@rockyhillct.gov prior to 4 p.m. on the day of the meeting to have their public comment read into the record. Do we have anybody present? Step right up. Thank you.
Good afternoon. Derek Kalin, 116 Ridgewood Drive. I wanted to speak in favor of fully funding the library budget. My family loves the library. My wife Mara serves on the board of trustees. I volunteer to run a kids' chess club, and our 9-year-old weekly brings home as many books as he can carry from the children's section. To teach a child to love reading is an important job for a parent, and we have been deeply grateful that the library has helped us to satisfy his rapacious appetite. The Rocky Hill Library staff are always exceptional. Participating in their programs has meant so much to our family since we moved to town in 2021. Throughout our time here, the library has remained one of the most important ways for us to connect with other residents and feel a sense of community in Rocky Hill. For years, however, the library staff has been expected to do more with fewer hours and a smaller materials budget. Last year's library budget included a goal of increasing the number of library visits, program participants, and library card users by 2.5% each, while cutting a 35-hour position and $5,000 from the book acquisitions budget. This is on top of a full-time position frozen in the previous year. The impact is that popular library programs are quickly oversubscribed, one-on-one technology help sessions have greatly decreased, and we are more reliant on surrounding libraries to purchase the books that we can't. Library staff is at full capacity, and as fulfilling as I find volunteering with the library, Rocky Hill deserves dedicated, skilled, paid staff to run this important community center. Please provide the funding that the library needs in order to continue this excellent service. Thank you.
Thank you. Seeing nobody else here, Daniel, do we have anything
I do.
submitted? Great.
Just one.
Okay.
It's from Tony Saculo of 58 Jennifer's Way. He says, I'm sorry that I will be unable to attend tonight's town council meeting. However, I would like to provide my support for the library in the ongoing budgetary meetings. As residents of Rocky Hill and active members of the Friends of the Library, my wife and I are writing to strongly urge the town council to maintain full funding for our library services. The library is a cornerstone of our community, and we believe it is important to expand programs and services rather than scale them back. Specifically, we are concerned about recent challenges regarding consistent staffing and the availability of new books. Dedicated staff are the heartbeat of the library's educational mission, and keeping our collection current is vital for resident engagement. We ask that you prioritize these essential areas in the upcoming budget to ensure the library remains a robust resource for all.
All right. Thank you. And that's it?
That's all.
Anybody else? No? All right. Moving on to get right into the budget. And I believe Mona or Ray, you guys are going to start off.
Yeah, but Mona
Comments?
will be walking you through, as an example, through the budget, and kind of like an example of how to read through the budget, and it might help those out there watching also.
Great.
was just going to point out,
Is your, Mona, sorry, is your mic on?
there I am, okay.
All right, thank
Loud
you.
and clear. Those that were watching the town manager's budget presentation the other day, I wanted to point out that in this proposed book, you have a total of 110, 257, 244. Presentation was all about 110, 207, 244, and an 8.38. The presentation is the number we would like to start with. There was a $50,000 in the detail book. It's in the human resources for part-time. That should be a zero. The town manager's budget had intended to have that as a zero. So your 110,207 in the presentation was the number will go, and that's an 8.38. We're also reviewing, and when we'll get to that department, in the building department, there was a duplication of a part-time for 30,000. We'll have that already, so you have to make the recommendation. That will be out. And we're also reviewing, let me jump down, on revenues, the 220,000 we're researching. There is a good possibility that that revenue may come to the town. So town manager's researching it. We'll work with the state. So that could be good news for us as we get rolling.
The revenue sharing grant.
And that,
When will you know that, by the way? You put it out there.
When the budget is finally voted on at the state level or something,
exactly.
which is due,
So the legislative session ends before we vote on our budget. There'll be time for, there'll be time for us to figure it out.
but we might not know until May 7th. Yeah.
Just a quick, I'm sure we've all figured it out by now, but I would do a quick on how to follow this because the document looks a little different than it did last year. I'm going to just grab finance because it's closest to me. I would say my heart, that's kind of tacky. But you'll see a section that looks like these little bar graphs to give you an idea what that's about. That's something new. You'll have this information that says, for example, number 1, budgetary factors. Those are all in the priorities that we had sent around to the council earlier in the years we were presenting this. You will find those numbered individually. Up here, let me drop it down a little bit. So you'll see strategic plan and priority issues. If you ever have a desire to go back and say, well, but what does that mean? These numbers are on that page. The directive to all department heads was if you're going to do a goal, make it tie back to that. What we've seen in previous budgets, you would just have this narrative here and not tying it back. And we've got an added portion, which is showing progress percent. This is going to become the working document for the town manager and department heads. So now we have a goal, it ties back to the plan, and then throughout the year, departments are expected on a monthly basis to say, and this is how I'm moving along with my goals. So rather than it a one-liner appearing on your budget book and close the book, it's over, this is going to become the working document.
To that point, sorry to interrupt. I promise I won't do that a bunch of times. But how often are directors circled back with to follow up on the status of these goals?
I would say in this format, we're going to do it monthly. This is the first time that we've had it in this format, but go ahead.
Yeah, it's, we plan on doing it monthly, but this is like, could be even a weekly thing. But minimally it would be quarterly, or not quarterly, monthly. But we'll keep in touch more often. I'll keep in touch more often with the department heads just to see what's going on.
Yeah,
In case things start
curious with the process
to
part of
fade
that.
away or go a different direction, pull them back.
Great.
Other section, I'm going to just point out a little bit. This is an example. We're not doing this one tonight, but in the past, you would see, for example, this line here, which is that first indent, it would say full-time salary. So in the past years, you would see that line. What is different this year? We've got a higher level that would gather everything salaries, everything services, in case you wanted to look at the high level. These lines here are what you're used to seeing. What we've done this year is on the salaries, it's what we're calling itemized. So you would see every position, and then it'll show the salary for the individual. So if you notice, all of this indent is what's totaling up to the level above. So it's more of a reverse roll-up. And, we'd love to see that what it looked like last year. This is new software, first time getting it out. So next year will be beautiful. I think right now it's a good tool, more detail. We've had questions in the past. Oh, what do we have? $500,000 in salaries. Who is it? And now you know. These are the positions. We did the same level on not all, but many of those line items that could use more description. For example, on technology software, last year you would have seen software, 66,000 and moving up. Wouldn't know what it was for. So the directive to department heads on these that could use more detail, you'll see an indent. This will tell you which vendors are going to be used or what type of purchase. Of course, we didn't get all of the accounts. If you got a meeting expense, we didn't go to which meeting, but of course the software is capable of doing that. But we really wanted to get the tool out there and get as much detail as we could. So it may be a little awkward to read, but the level of detail hopefully gives you that transparency that we're always striving for.
Mona, quick question on that. I think the prior years, we actually had fiscal year 2025 projected versus actual. And
Yes.
I think, was this your, yeah, Fran had brought that up.
Yes, let me tell you about that one.
Okay.
And yes, I have been made aware of that. Thank you. So in the past, we would have last year, the prior year's actual, this year's budget, and then we'd have this year's year-to-date actual. That is not there. I think in the past, what would happen is it was being built. It was probably about 3-month-old data, so we would do how much have they spent, and then I would report accordingly. If this is really a column that you want to use, it's obviously I can't change the proposed budget, but I can modify and insert that column. I don't know if I can get it as soon as the following Tuesday, but if you feel it's something that's very valuable, we can try to put that in there.
I'm not sure it's necessarily available on salaries, but on other expenditures, I think it is something that if a certain department didn't use the money, because I remember the road money last year, they didn't use it, so in giving them their budget for the following year, we said, well, they still have X amount left over,
Yeah.
and it wasn't necessarily earmarked. So, I mean, I really don't want to make extra work, because this is a bear on you more than anybody, but that was helpful in some instances to me.
And I think the next meeting that we have, hold on there, I'm going to grab my.
There are certainly departments that doesn't mean
Right,
much.
we've got some of the smaller departments on next Tuesday, the following, which is the 21st, with facilities and parks and so forth. Why don't, if you don't mind, I'll try to make it a goal to have it for those which are a little, yeah. And I think it does come in handy, but we can always give updated.
I think
Does that make
that
sense?
that's a good point. I remember that from previous years too, and sometimes it would be way off, and you're like, how are you? I remember the registrar's office was like, we don't have any elections between now and June. Why are we so much under, and yet you're still anticipating to spend this amount?
Right.
Sometimes it has to do with the payment of contracts. When contracts are due, you have a software contract that's due in May or something like that. My thought is, if the other thing is, this is made now, but we're only, really a month away now from eventually when we'll end up deciding on the budget. But maybe that's something. A lot of those type of things, like the road budget, things like that we get those projected numbers maybe, or actual numbers.
Well, we have actual,
Close.
right? We have actual. We just don't have what we thought we were going to spend.
Well, you have the actual of last year. So that actual that I'm looking at here is for the 24-25. That's last year's actual.
Yeah.
you have this year's budget.
Well, that's current, right? That actual.
That's the current
is-
year budget,
That was, no, that's last year's
25,
actual.
26. Yeah,
2025.
Right.
We don't have 2026 actual,
correct.
so, because we're still in that. So perhaps those are the type of numbers we need closer to the end, maybe not, or maybe on a department by department basis. If there's a big gap there, it might be something that's good for us to know.
In all honesty, it's
But-
probably easier if I just export and I load an entire thing up. Just keep in mind that if, with that, to put that in, something will fall off the page. I hope and no one's got that great, love for these account numbers here.
There we go.
They mean everything to me.
You probably have them memorized,
I do.
but we are not going to know the difference.
So if nobody feels like they're missed them. Well, that would, what it would be. It would be an actual year-to-date. We have it in a separate handout that we do for finance, those that are on finance, and I see we do it all the time. But if it looks better and it's easier to follow it on this page, I can probably fit the column in, dropping off the account number, and probably inserting year-to-date right in here.
I think we might want to see, particularly if there's a big difference,
Right. They're good to see.
Well, always answered our questions anyways, because they were, to your point, a 2 or 3 month laggard.
Yes,
Yeah.
right. Yep. Yes. Or I'll just have them with me, and which I have tonight,
Which you do, yeah.
of course.
Right.
So that's enough, I think, on how to read it and what we'll do. And I'm going to pass it back for the first budget. Town council. Right? Do you need to look at the monitor?
Bottom line is, so we reduced the town council budget by $2,000. Retaining enough money under fees for Memorial Day events and any events that you might want to contribute to, like inclusion and innovation, 9/11 memorial events, things like that. Out of the member expense accounts, so you're looking at town council, like conferences, cost conferences, council of small town, things like that, CCM conferences. Dues and subscriptions, we're looking at yearly annual subscriptions for cost, CCM, CROG, and other larger organizations that we need to be a member of.
Can I ask a question? You ready?
Fire away.
I did see under fees that the actual 2025 was only $440, and then in 2026 it went up to 4,000, which we're keeping that 4,000. Can you elaborate on that? Like why it went up to so high?
In fact, I'm going to jump in, because this would be one of those places where that year-to-date
Yeah.
would be beautiful.
Yes.
0. So, yeah, that's the point, but,
So is this maybe somewhere where we could cut more if we're at year-to-date 0 and we have $4,000 is just sitting there?
yeah. And I think the intention was to have at least something for council, that if something were to come up, we've had
Something, maybe just
in the
reduce it.
past, they wanted to, I can't even recall what it was. It was something with this whole setup, the audio visual, or the way that it's like we really prefer, this, or we had, the cell phones or the iPads, or, so it's there
that was
at
a
your
while ago.
discretion to
Maybe we
use
could reduce it to
accordingly. So.
1,000.
And also in the event that,
$3,000?
It's like when I was on student council and we had a bank account and you want to hand it over to the next group so that they can use it if they need to. We have a reason to use it, we'll use it, but if not, it's great to hang out to.
Well, with the amount we're up, I think we need to figure out where we're gonna cut where we can, and, it's only
Totally open to that. I just, conceptually, I just
holding
think
it
makes
just in case for 1 year, I think is not worth it.
we've always been asked, I've been always asked that can the council contribute more to the Memorial Day parade?
Yeah.
And,
Yeah.
so that could be
Okay.
part of that, but sure, I mean,
Well-
Okay.
it's $4,000.
Can I ask, though, if we budgeted 4,000 last year and we spent 0, I think you said?
440,
440.
440.
Right here.
Okay.
today, year-to-date is zero.
Oh, okay. Year-to-date is 0.
No, but it's
Yeah,
not-
last year we spent 440, but this fiscal year we spent nothing.
Correct.
Okay. So what happened with that 4,000? Does that end up going to the general fund?
Yes, it does. You're going to make me want to do an accounting class
I'm
real
really
early in the
not.
game.
I just
But
want to make
yes.
sure it's not, the general fund, which is now discretionary.
No, what it will do is, when we close out the year, and many of you have already seen that we'll do that year-end journal entry, it'll say if, we're going to turn something to non-recurring, like, for example, that road repair had 100,000 left, put it to non-recurring. All of these other unexpended amounts will go to fund balance. And we'll talk about our beautiful presentation the other day, when you saw that bar graph about how the budget keeps going up, but our fund balance is going downward. These are the things that when you close out the year, if you have enough of these 2,000s, 1,000s, they'll go to fund balance. If you've got a $100 million budget and our ordinance goal is to get to 10% or 10 million, and today we're at 6 million, it's a small increment, but that is what will fund your fund balance, is the unexpended, as well as any revenues higher than the budgeted amount. So that's where they go.
Could you give us a breakdown on that dues and subscriptions? You're saying part of that's CROG. How much do we pay to CROG yearly?
I did not bring that, sorry. I know you've got CCM, cost, and CROG.
I don't have those numbers right now.
Is there more than those two in there, or is it mainly just those two? 'Cause that seems a
CROG,
lot.
cost, and CCM.
Wow.
Like CCM is like over $11,000. CROG is per capita, again, per capita.
Okay.
What's CCM?
Connecticut Conference of Municipalities.
Okay.
Cost is Council of Small Towns.
Yeah, and they've offered free trainings and stuff. Like I went to the one this year that was like a free first time member training, and it was good.
I think
Okay.
we probably, when CROG is mostly funded by the state and by federal funds, they're the administrator of federal funding around transportation and stuff like that. So the amount of money, or the amount of like resources and grants and stuff like that we get from CROG every year is probably well in excess of the amount that we put in, because most of the money that CROG operates on is federal and state. It's just a little bit from each of the towns, like per capita. But like cost and CCM is a little bit different than that. Their
don't-
funding sources are a little different.
I don't know about CCM specifically, but I know that some of these organizations do it on a per resident basis, so something like a dime or 20 cents per resident, and then builds up to be like, in our case, 4,000-ish, something like that. So that's what I expect it would be.
Thanks.
But so the, things like the Chamber of Commerce and stuff like that, that's not in this number, right?
No.
No, I think I put Chamber in economic development.
Yeah.
It's like $430.
All right. Good on the first budget line item?
Sorry. So are we gonna ask them to what do we do if we want to officially change something?
We're just getting information and stuff
Information.
now, yes.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah. Lock it away, make notes.
Okay.
I'll
I
make
put
a
it in my
note.
notes already.
Yeah.
Sounds good. Thank you.
All right. That's probably one of the smallest ones.
Start in slow.
My budget, town manager's budget, 0% increase on that. Oh, yeah. While there are only 2 goals listed on the page, there are different steps within those 2 goals that are, that need to be considered. For goal number 1, investigate and evaluate intermunicipal equipment and service sharing opportunities. That's involving, which we've done already, some of, looking at CROG, for example, their, the speed camera services, shared services. We had CROG come in and take a look at what we can do for shared services, looking at intermunicipal sharing equipment. Through the Parks and Rec, we had a grant with CROG. And there are other areas that I need to investigate where we can possibly save money. Equipment sharing, even looking at, transfer station possibilities, with other municipalities. The most recent one is the regional sharing with, for municipal trash, solid waste, going in on a bid RFP for a trash consultant with Weathersfield and Newington. Second goal, continuously review budget financial reports against performance management. That was a question that was asked earlier. That requires, I think, weekly, monthly, quarterly meetings with department heads. It's checking on the progress against the goals in the budget, making sure that we're all tied in to what this policy manual, which is really what the budget is, says, and make sure we're trying to keep on track. So that requires continuous budget review with the finance department, reviewing progress and conformance with goals with HR, meeting with the department heads. Dues and subscriptions, that's ICMA, International City Managers Association, and the CTCMA is the Connecticut City Managers Association, local town managers association. Business expenses, again, CCM, while they do offer many free sessions, training and educational sessions, there are some that do cost. Same thing with cost, Council of Small Towns, and some educational, various educational workshops that might be of interest for me.
So can I ask a question, Ray, then on that? For professional services, we budgeted 0. But we projected 4,000. What is that number,
Yeah, tell me about that.
actual?
Yep. I'm going to, I know, again, this is the presentation, so I'm going to do this one. So the budgeted amount, excuse me, first indent is the line item. So we budgeted 4,000, projected 4,000. Down here is where they are expected to put in detail. This one doesn't have any detail, so it's not a good example. It's just bringing fees. But this would be where it's going to be a breakdown of the line above. So this is not a 0-4. Do you follow where I'm going? So the first indent is the line. The next indent is detail.
But, okay, so
So-
that fee should be a professional services, some sort of fee for professional services.
Yeah.
But,
Because we have 2 4,000s in there now.
well, no, what she's saying is it's the same
is
amount,
one.
it's just a subset
That's the
of it.
detail.
Yeah, it's a detail. So what this is saying is that in 2025, we actually spent $804, and then, but we budgeted 4,000, and we're carrying that same 4,000 this year. So what is that 4,000, and can we reduce that since we actually only spent 800?
Well, but I see
804.
4,000 under professional services and fees, and both, then you run up to the bolded purchase professional services, and it's 4,000.
Yeah, I
That's
get
the
it.
header, that's
Yeah.
the header, that's the
Right.
header.
Then there
This-
were 2 headers, then it
yeah.
should be
Yeah,
8,000.
there's 3, I guess, but
Yeah.
the header, the bolded one is the total of all the things underneath.
I get that, I
see what
totally
you're
get
saying.
that.
Yeah.
But under the header, there are 2
There's
4,000.
two 4,000.
All right, I'm gonna, one more.
Right.
All right. The very bold is going to be the high level. If he had professional service, well, you do, you have training, professional services and training. The bold is going to be what is going to total up these first indents, this one and this one. So the 4,000 is actually adding up that one and this. Then the internal indent is what goes with
All
that.
right, understood.
So like I said, a lot of great information, a little awkward to read, but it flows once you get used to it.
And have we spent anything this year?
We are at very little, 162.
Again, leftover general fund.
Is there an opportunity to reduce?
Not necessarily. It's always good to have that cushion in case the town council or I need to do something that is at a higher level, that we might need some consulting services or additional legal.
No, I'm just saying if we don't use it, it
Oh,
goes
right.
fund
It
into
goes
the.
to fund balance.
Well, he was answering my predicted question that I was asking at the same time. Can we reduce
Everybody's
that?
question.
Yeah,
It
can we
was.
go ahead and bring that down to maybe 1,000? But, I don't know, something to consider. Yeah, thank you.
Something with the salaries, we don't have the budgeted for 2026 and/or the projected for these, our 2 people in that office? Or am I missing something again?
Yeah, this one, like I said, it's kind of new, so I'm not sure why, but they're actually the projected for 26, 27, they dropped below, where it would be ideal if they were side by side, but it would show no increase there. This is current year, and for non-bargaining, which is the case for both of these individuals, there is nothing budgeted. That will be determined after the beginning of the fiscal year, so they should stay consistent. So this person is there, that person is here.
Just a learning curve,
Is-
trying to figure this out.
Like I said, the good news is it's a lot more information. It just gets a little
The good news
awkward to
is
follow.
it's easier when the numbers are the same.
Yeah.
It's when the numbers change that it might be difficult to match them up.
I was gonna ask why, I mean, I see the numbers are different, but I was wondering why they're on 2 different line items for each of the same thing. Why wouldn't you put it on the same?
One line item.
Yeah, I mean,
It's a learning.
yeah,
Experience for
I'm
us.
sure it's
I'm
just.
gonna ask the programmers
yeah,
that one, but
please,
I'm darn
because
lucky I got it
why
to look
this one is
good.
different from all the
I
others?
don't
mean,
know.
it doesn't-
And we're actually the same reference number too.
It is the
Yeah, I
same,
know,
I was
it's
thinking
all the
maybe it was
same,
a different
yeah.
numbers, but it is the same,
Yep.
exactly.
All right, any other questions for the town manager department?
Just why wouldn't we project the town manager's raise? It's a contractual raise. Why wouldn't we just put that in there? Do you know? It's in his contract, how much he gets a raise, I
contractual.
believe. 3%.
I think it's just been a habit that we've been
That all
for
non-bargaining,
years.
honestly.
But,
Well,
I mean,
Okay.
that could be done, I guess.
we could. Yeah.
Thanks.
Yeah, I mean, that makes sense. If we know what it's gonna be next year,
Right.
then why not?
Let's put it in.
Yep.
Did we ask about the dues and subscriptions at the end there
Good.
already?
Yeah, that was ICMA.
Okay, thank you.
Yep,
You
and,
did, you did, okay. I don't want to, sorry, repeating.
Well, it is a lot lower number. It's a, what is actual?
It would be helpful to have the, yeah.
I'll put them in for you.
But if it hasn't been spent yet, then kind of moot, but.
I think we're probably gonna run into that in a lot of departments around professional development. I mean, obviously, I think it's important for people to continue professional development, and when, almost, if the money's there, you almost wanna encourage, it's almost a way to encourage people to take it, but obviously, if we don't have the ability to spend that money on professional development, because maybe the thing isn't out there, or the course isn't out there to take, or you just don't have the availability or whatever, it doesn't necessarily make sense to budget for it every single year. So all set, town manager department. Human Resources and Legal Compliance.
Tonight, we have a guest. Director of Human Resources and Legal Compliance, Dana McGee. Up to the podium.
Welcome, welcome.
Thank you.
Good evening. Good early evening, Mayor and Town Councilors. And for those watching live, I'm Dana McGee, the Director for Human Resources, Legal Compliance in the town of Rocky Hill. I have here with me Autumn Geyer sitting at the back table. She is the Human Resources Generalist and Search Administrator for the town, and the person that you're most likely to see when you're walking upstairs and coming off the elevator.
And the one that decorates the office.
And the one that decorates the office. This is true, very true. As you know, the department partners with all municipal departments across the municipality to build and retain top talent workforce, folks that serve the community while providing personnel administration solutions that reduce legal risk, and in doing so, reduces financial risk. This department can be very broadly organized into 3 areas. I think that usually when I'm before you, I'm talking about one of our nuanced areas that we focus on, but tonight I'm going to talk to you broadly about what we do. In each of these areas, you'll find some sort of award-winning system or function that's been credited by underwriters with reducing the town's public officials' liability portfolio. Those 3 areas are personnel administration and classification, number 2, labor relations and legal compliance, and number 3, workplace safety and OSHA compliance. In the budget book that you're looking at, you're going to see safety and OSHA compliance figures prominently in terms of expenses, and I'm going to talk a little bit about that. Some of the functions that we have always focused on in the past, and I've talked to you about this, would be our objective hiring process, any activities associated with the OSHA written compliance plans and the town safety committee, and HR training sessions for supervisors and non-supervisory employees. In terms of the goals that you see, I'm going to skip back to our goals, I'm sorry.
That's okay.
We will note that there should be some updates that aren't reflected here. The town manager actually received and signed off on cohorts several months ago. This relates directly to your staffing priority and your succession planning. Keep in mind that when we talk about succession planning, before we get to succession planning, we have to have people who are available and who are interested and capable of performing the duties that we need them to perform when they become leaders. So we have to prepare them for that. So we have to go back to the beginning and start providing leadership development programs to them. You mentioned professional development and the money that's available for that or sometimes not available for that. That is directly related to our succession planning efforts. So what we have been trying to do over the years is to find free resources, free opportunities to provide leadership development programming and training to folks. And you also mentioned CCM. I just want you to see how all this stuff is related. We are a member of CCM. CCM is actually one of those places that provides free training, including leadership development and supervisory training. Our ESI, Employee Assistance Program, provides free resources. So when you see subscriptions and memberships to different organizations, you're going to see that ticket item, but keep in mind what we're getting out of them is substantial, okay? I would say even KERMA, right? So for our purposes, when you look at my, I'm gonna skip again, I'm sorry, Mona. When you look at my fees and training, one of the reasons that our training, we've been able to keep that flat or decrease that is because we are relying on the memberships that exist and their free services. Does that make sense to everybody?
Yep.
Okay, so that allowed us to keep our training numbers very low, especially considering what we want to be able to do with succession planning in the future. Okay. In terms of the other goal, leadership development programs, we have already identified a number of programs, and some of those are for pay. We will not be doing a lot of those, therefore, this coming fiscal year because of our financial challenges. So what you will see in the future is me preparing for Ray reports on all of the free opportunities that we took advantage of. But the meaty, substantive programs that might require travel or days away or intensive days where folks, have to spend their time in a live session, you may not see those for a couple of years until we can pay for them.
Or we can have you do them.
Thank you. Yes, we could have me do them also. One of the other things I'd like you to look at is with regard to OSHA compliance and safety, job safety expenses. This is what we're getting for that $27,000. And Mona, that is what they're looking at, right? 27,000?
Yep.
Okay, this is what they're getting, what we are getting. Asbestos awareness training, audiometric testing, random drug testing programs for both the Department of Transportation and all of our CDL employees, CDL physicals, health and wellness requirements for the Police Accountability Bill. The Police Accountability Bill requires that our officers, and this is a new one, an unfunded mandate, they have to go through mental health screenings, random drug screenings. All of those things have to be paid for by us. And so that's included in that $27,000 figure. OSHA site visit responses, OSHA written compliance plans and training. We have to hire vendors to do the bloodborne pathogen, exposure control, confined space, hazard communication, hearing conservation, lockout, tagout, tick-borne illness training, silica exposure training, and all of the respiratory protection training, including fit testing, that's the mask that goes over everyone's face, and the medical evaluation that we have to perform to ensure that our employee is of a certain level of health and can take wearing that mask, and that it won't affect their ability to be healthy while they're performing whatever job it is they need to perform. And so for that $27,000, we're getting quite a bit. We're getting quite a bit. Generally, you'll just see that a lot of my line items stayed flat, and again, we were able to decrease in some areas, mainly trying to take advantage of free services. We did decide to forego. We have a legal research engine that we used to use, LexisNexis. We will not be using that in the future to save some money, and I'll take any questions.
It kind of looks like you're under budgeting for training the last couple of years. You've exceeded it. You had 18,000 in '25. I don't know what we are year to date, but we're projected to be 15, and we only budgeted 6. So, considering, and we're only proposing 6. Are we under budgeting that?
So I have an explanation for that. Because ClearGov provides a new way for us to categorize our training. Training used to include broadly even the OSHA safety-related training, but this new program has allowed us to break it out now. So we've separated our safety and OSHA training from our our job training and our leadership development programs. So that's why you're seeing those.
That was going to be my other question, is we had nothing budgeted for OSHA and job safety compliance, but you're saying that's
It was
kind of
in
being
a
melded
different category.
together?
It was categorized differently in the past. Am I explaining that well enough?
Yeah, it's more of a coding. So I know you had asked, for example, training, a year-to-date right now is 11,000, but the fees, where it's the 42, is actually at 31. So it's really just a matter of putting it in the right bucket.
Okay.
It's labeled differently, and I think that's why it looks like that. Councilor Savini.
So then we're not under budgeted because we've budgeted under OSHA job safety and compliance to make up for the deficit.
Correct.
is what I'm seeing.
Correct. That's correct.
Did we have CDL? Didn't we have to do all that before?
We
Drug testing
have.
and stuff? Yeah.
It was embedded before, just labeled differently.
Okay.
I've got a question, but yeah, go ahead.
The part-time person, oh wait, that's a sub, so we did, okay, no, I'm reading it wrong. That's the subcategory, right? The part-time salaries, then underneath it says PT salaries, that's the subcategory, right?
And that is the line that is actually zero. That
was an error.
earlier.
Misprint.
It'll show 50 here, but in the town manager's
Oh.
presentation was.
That's what we're getting back.
That's the zero.
Okay, so that's not.
There'll be
included. Thank
minus
you.
50.
Well, actually, that does, so do we have a part-time hire for 50,000?
We do currently, but
And we,
Not-
I remember you had to wait to put them into the next year last year. So actual, we're at what again, Mona?
Part-time, hold on there, 33.
So we're on close to pace.
Correct, yeah.
Okay.
But that's not going to be funded in this budget.
Well, it is. It's proposed 50,000.
No,
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 no.
this
That
is
was an error.
this is what she said at the beginning of the meeting, that we're going to be
error.
less 50.
Took that out.
This is coming back to us.
Oh.
Yeah.
Question about the salaries, the proposed. Now, I assume that she's not collective bargaining, correct?
That's right.
Being a director, but how does she we have a raise in there? You know, on the town manager, we didn't have anything, but
Right,
now on
yeah.
these positions, we do have something.
Yeah.
1%.
Yeah, I think it's more of a rounding on this. Like, so we're trying to make a budget program do payroll, so I think you'll get a little rounding on.
But is that going to be accurate, you think, or is that?
The proposed is accurate. When it's trying to project your year,
Oh, okay.
it's gonna take based on an hourly and switch it to 26 pays and 35 hours. I think you're gonna lose a little rounding, but your proposed is correct.
Okay, thank you.
And then my question is just around that part-time position. So if we're not funding that part-time position, what's the effect of that going to be? Other than just the financial, saving the money?
So the department, like any other department, certainly needs staff, right? It's the staff that gets the work done. And a large part of our work, labor relations and legal compliance in particular, takes up an inordinate amount of our time. But I will say that as a management team, a decision has been made, and the department stands ready to work with the management team to figure out simply how to get the work done. That's it.
So do we feel confident that we'll be able to absorb that workload elsewhere?
It will be absorbed in my department by the two people that you see sitting here.
Yeah, plus, I'd like to rely more, we have on our labor council for some of these legal issues that Dana gets wrapped up into. And also, well, we have a labor council, and then we also have Howard and Sage with a labor component. So for
That we use
example,
on a
so-
case-by-case basis
Yeah,
type
recently,
thing?
we forwarded something to Howard and Sage that Dana would probably usually get tangled up into to try to free her from some of those.
So are we adjusting for that under that line item then, expecting that we're,
No, we're not,
okay.
yeah, I don't think we need to at this point.
We've used council to take the position, take some of the responsibilities of part-time salary, is what we did last year, allocating a little bit more money to, if she needed the help on particular cases, right? If that's fairly accurate, Dana?
Say that again, Dave?
I think you were overworked. This is my third one, so I got a good history going, right? But, we ended up allocating more discretionary use of our legal counsel, Halloran and Sage, for issues that she needed not to put her time into, but would be better suited for the legal counsel to use. A way of alleviating a little bit of your responsibility,
Right.
if I'm not mistaken.
That's what we're doing now.
Yeah, exactly. No, Alan was asking the question, I think, how are we making up for it, and whatever, so,
No, makes sense.
doing great.
Anything else for Ms. McGee? No? Yeah. All right.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Economic Development.
Our second guest, Economic Development Manager, Alondra Main.
Hello. How are we doing tonight? I hear it's the mayor's birthday, is that correct?
I didn't hear that.
What page is economic development?
I'm looking 96. I just found it.
My name is Alondra Main. I'm the Economic and Business Development Manager. A lot of what I do revolves around serving as the main contact for businesses and developers, creating marketing events to help promote the town's culture, events such as Shoppy Hill Saturday and the Food Capital campaign that me and the mayor are currently working on, doing routine business visitations and working with the Middlesex Chamber of Commerce when need be. All of these things are explained a little bit more touched upon a little bit more in this nice little table that Mona created. I gotta give Mona a shout out. And there's a few things that I want to point out. Where is it? Maintain online inventory of local businesses. That's at 90% because the business inventory is completed. I just have to add categories to it. So when I do that, that's going to be at 99%. And then update town's public artwork policy. Obviously, I know you guys are working on that. So when it is updated, I would like to be more involved, my department to be more involved in that. And then the last thing I wanted to touch upon was the first one, introducing funding assistance program for business expansion and improvement. That's a new initiative that me, the town manager, the director of finance, and our town treasurer are working on, and we actually just met with Liberty Bank on Tuesday to go over what we would need to do in order to put this in motion. And obviously, it's still in early stages because it depends on if that were to get passed or not. And we still need to go over, the application process and our criteria and processes and all that fun stuff. So
what is Liberty offering us, or?
Sorry?
What is Liberty partnering with us on?
It's 150,000, should I?
Yeah, we met with them. Nothing is final. We're getting information. Now, we're going to be probably meeting with Nutmeg also. But there was a proposal in capital budget for $150,000 for a business assistance program, which is basically we're looking to do a loan program for small businesses, maybe to help them expand, stay in town, do some improvements. Partnering with a bank will help us with the credit analysis. They'll do the analysis, letting us know, it's too risky or not risky.
Right.
Hopefully, they'd kick in some matching money. And we'd give out, we'd go through a loan process for a particular business.
No, great. Thank you.
And I will say that having some sort of funding assistance program, has been requested many times from business owners that I've spoken to. So it is desirable, and I know that many businesses across Rocky Hill would definitely be interested. So I would be very excited for that. And then I think within my budget, yes, the biggest increases are obviously the salary going from part-time to full-time. And then there is, I guess, a mistake here with the grants writer. That shouldn't be in mine. It should be somewhere else. Is that correct?
Oh, no, you get to keep it.
Okay. What else? I mean, I guess if if you guys have, obviously you're gonna have questions for me. I will just say that my department is very small. It's just me on a part-time status. But I've had a great time being here the year and a half that I've been here now. It's been a great ride, and ever since the beginning when I first applied for this job, I kind of felt like this position was sort of made for me in a way, not to get too sappy, but I've really enjoyed it. And I hope to keep that momentum going. So with that, I'd be happy to answer your questions and comments and concerns.
Okay, I have a question for you, Alondra. Thank you so much for a great presentation. Looks like you're doing some good work here.
Thank you.
Let me ask you a philosophical question. What do you think is the reason for our flat grand list?
The flat grand list is probably because currently we have one economic development person on a part-time status. And so I think if the town is serious about not upgrading, but increasing the grand list to ease the burdens on our taxpayers, we should take that seriously and have a full-time economic development person who can take care of that.
So you think our grand list will increase if we...
Yes, well, that's
increase
the goal,
road-
yes.
That's the goal, but how confident are you in that analysis, in that philosophy, that having a full-time person will get us wherever we want to go? And that's my next question, actually. So let's just say, like, we give you, and you can answer both of them. Let's just say you get your wish, right? You have the full-time person, right, which is you.
Mm-hmm.
And according to your diagnosis or your philosophy, we should be making gains
Mm-hmm.
accordingly if we provide it its due recognition, right? This role, right, which is full-time. What will you do, which you're not doing already, to get us there? With that full-time role, which is basically doubling your time, right? So are there any things like...
Oh, she was 30 hours a week, right?
So let's just say 10 hours, it's fine, 10 hours. Yeah. What will you do incrementally to improve our grand list?
I think if it's full-time, it would definitely improve the connection between, the developers that are looking to build on the remaining parcels of land that we have, which is not a lot. And there have been conversations, which obviously I can't go into too much detail about it because it is confidential, but, I think it is important as a town to have at least one person full-time to do economic development, to work as efficiently as possible.
I do understand that. What I'm saying is, can you quantify what you can achieve with your full-time status?
I
in
mean,
terms
no,
of
because
grand list?
I'm not in a full-time right now, so I don't know exactly how to
But you've been in the
quantify
job
that.
for a year and a half. You should have a good sense of, like, what do you need to achieve what you...
Mr. Mayor, may I
Good
help in?
Yeah, go ahead.
Ray, you were the economic development director in the past, right?
For a short time, for 17 years. So I'm pretty knowledgeable about that. Basically, it's time. One thing is time to put into research who's expanding, who's not expanding, what company is looking for more property, and if we can find out what that company is or who those companies are, who has that interest, try to match them with the very little remaining properties we have, which is difficult because properties that are for sale, the owners of those properties are not really enthusiastic about selling. So it would be more time communicating with the property owner and with realtors. I had a lot of contact with realtors. It takes a lot of time, a lot of phone calls, a lot of visits. And if it was a full-time, it wouldn't be 40 hours, 5 days. It would be weekends. It
Yeah,
would be more.
so
Yeah,
Ray, I do understand qualitatively what you're saying. What I'm looking for is, because ultimately, I'm voting on this budget based on what you can achieve with this money. And I want some concrete numbers behind
what can be done.
You really
with,
can't.
with the, with, what was that?
You really can't get concrete numbers. I mean, how do you?
I mean, why can't you? No, I mean, she has been in the job for a year and a half.
Councilor
I mean,
Prakash, Councilor Prakash, under what metric would you like to have the numbers?
well, I'm just,
Propose a metric. Please
the-
propose a metric.
listen, yeah, let me complete. Now you're asking me a question, I will answer. I'm not the economic development expert. These guys are. So they should come up with a metric, and they should tell me what the metric is. It's not my job to tell them their metric. So Alondra should be telling me that metric, or maybe Ray should be. But there should be a metric which we can actually measure
Yeah, but I think
performance.
it would be-
If you're
it'd
going to increase the number of like hours here,
It's increasing the tax base. So in order to increase the tax base real estate-wise, you have to have a building. You have to have an addition to a building, you have to have a new building. Or you have to have more personal property of value. And it's hard to predict how much more building we're going to get when it's out of our control.
yeah,
Can
but,
you use
but
it-
you are saying that the grand list will increase because
We
and
hope
according to
it will increase. It has a better chance of increasing.
well, hope is not a strategy. We are increasing the headcount here,
Here's a thought
or
for you.
doubling the money we are spending on it.
No, we're not
on the
doubling.
current headcount.
That's the answer. That's all we can give.
So you cannot like tell me like what measurable gains we'll have on the grand list if we get this position as a full-time
We're
position.
hoping to increase the grand list by maybe attracting a business that maybe we couldn't attract because we didn't have the hours to put in to do the research to find out who's expanding and who's looking.
Yeah,
We
I-
need to do something.
Yeah, sure, we need to do something, but we need to have a goal.
This may
That's
not be
the
a
goal.
quantitative thought, but as a qualitative thought,
Be able to do it. You can't do it.
part-time position. Forget who's in the position at the moment, just treat it generically as the part-time position. We as a town should presume, with any part-time position we have, that the person in that position is spending some of their life on having or seeking other employment in order to be fully employed. Though many that we might hire in those positions may not be seeking full employment, it would be, I would say, the fair thing to do to presume that they would. So in terms of how would it be different if it's a full-time position, regardless of who's in it, that's the difference. Their life would not be split in terms of their employment. And so they might be able to focus more. They might be able to, it's not quantitative, but I genuinely
I'm not
believe.
disputing that.
I
I'm
genuinely
not
believe
disputing the
that
qualitative idea.
stripping away
I'm
who the
asking for a
candidates-
goal.
I hear it.
I'm asking for a goal. What is the goal here? Like, what are we chasing? What are we setting the goal as 2027 goal if we fund this position to a full-time position? That's all I'm asking. I agree with everything qualitatively you said, but what is the goal here? What are we gonna hold our town manager accountable to if we fund this position as a full-time position? That's my question, and I don't have an answer yet.
To grow a grand list.
Yeah, I think there's really no way that you can just assign a number to that because there's so many other factors that are beyond anybody's control. But I can tell you this, because I deal in real estate stuff every day. And when a business is looking to move somewhere, they are going to reach out to probably a broker. That broker is going to take a look around and look at properties that are available, and maybe they've got something a little bit different, and so they're going to look for towns that maybe can work with them. And if we don't have somebody who can pick up the phone and connect those pieces any day of the week and the weekend and at night, there's going to be another town that does pick up the phone. Because all the towns around us, for the most part, especially the ones that are really doing well with economic development, they have full-time economic development people, and more than that even. And that's the difference that Rocky Hill is missing, and I think that's what's contributed to not a lot of new stuff coming in the last few years, is we haven't had this as a full-time position.
One of the other things too, I do see we've, which I think is great, we've increased our grant writing, like fees and grant writing, but isn't the economic develop director or person also going to be helping with grants and things like that, which would then help with other things in reducing hopefully our costs on other things?
I would think that's going to bring in revenue from other sources
Yes,
as well, not just
exactly.
tax revenue from
Correct. So
a
there'll
new
be
business that
opportunities in other
opens
things
and.
as well, yeah.
They're separate
Yeah.
line items, honestly. And if we hired a full-time economic development, if I'm not mistaken, Ray, you were the grant writer when you were the economic development manager.
I did a lot of grants, yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, so if we're gonna have both,
But it's only
Seems like a luxury.
15,000, that's not really a,
50.
1.5.
If
How-
I,
Can I ask you a question for you, Mona, quickly? What are the benefits attached to a full-time employee yearly?
I'd say percentage-wise, I would estimate at about 40%.
Okay, so the 47,234 increase would be plus the 40% of the salary.
You'd have to, right,
So-
you'd
So,
have to
so
add
the
that.
budget, though it appears to be only here, it would also hit the benefits part.
Correct.
Okay.
And that is in that benefit line, so if you're looking at that line, if you were
Right, but
choosing
it's- but
not
it-
to do
would
that,
it-
then you'd
Would it be
offset.
itemized that it's for economic development, the additional?
No, it
Right.
runs into the employee
Exactly,
benefit.
so I'm just saying,
Yeah.
so it'd be a 47,000 increase plus 40% of 112, again, roughly, 44, 45,000.
So fully loaded, it's like 90K.
92,000.
9,000.
Right, okay. And we have the grant writer for 15,000.
Correct.
So now.
But the grant writer doesn't have benefits because that's on a
It
Consultant.
definitely
per
doesn't, but
deal
I'm saying
basis
it's
or
a
something, right?
15,000.
Yeah,
right, so-
flat.
So you're basically at 105 at least, 107. So fully loaded, you're like basically increasing 107. And everything, again, all the hypotheses are great, like from the mayor and from Zach. But the question is like, what are you willing to put behind that hypothesis? I haven't heard that number. What are you gonna do with that money? And if you're that confident that it makes a difference, which you are, Alan, then why don't we put a number and ask the town manager to put a number behind it? I'm not saying that he should not do it. I'm saying I need a goal here.
I think
There are
it's,
like,
listen,
like 5 goals on the page here. Those are the goals.
We are talking on grand list. We are talking on
The
grand
grand
list.
list, yeah.
Yeah, we are talking on grand list because
The
that's
grand list is
what
not-
we are talking about
It's not on the
here.
goal page, though. That's what I'm
And
saying.
that's what it should be, because we have been talking about grand lists forever.
You know,
And Alondra
government-
just said what is ailing our grand list is a full-time person. And I'm saying, if you get the full-time person, if I vote for that person, sure, like, give me a number what we can like actually take home. That's all I'm asking. I'm not asking that difficult.
I just want to point
Remember,
out,
like, how much we're gonna grow the grand list?
Yeah,
Government does not grow grand list, business does. So we're at the mercy of the business. Government does not create jobs.
so why are we so
Businesses
confident that
create
making
jobs.
this role full-time? and-
Because what we have been doing hasn't
that's what
worked.
he's been doing for 17 years of his life. He doesn't-
Why
something-
not?
Can I
Because we
just-
haven't been
It's a-
investing in it.
Yeah, it's
We've
a great
handed
debate.
over some of
and
our
I
tax
understand your
base.
theory of the case. I do understand the theory of the case, but you have to put behind something.
Okay, I understand what you're talking about.
Yeah, you
We had a comment developer for 17 years. You saw the record, what he did, right? What she did for 1.5 years. You compare those, and you cannot come to your matrix.
Mukesh, I'm not comparing. I'm not comparing anything. I'm just saying we have a theory of the case. What are we willing to put behind that theory as a goal? That's all I'm asking for. Is that simple? It's
you
not.
want the-
It's not about her. It's not about our current director. It's not about our current town manager. I'm just saying, going forward, we fund this, right? Position to the fullest extent. What are we gonna get for this as just even like a forecast? Is there a metric? Like, is there something you can say, hey, this is what you're gonna get if we really believe in this, which we think we do, listening to the mayor and listening to Zach. That's all I'm saying. I'm not saying I'm against this. I'm for something concrete.
The goal is growth. How much that is, how can we quantify that based on all of the other things that are out of our control? And not only that, but the work that goes in now becomes a shovel in the ground like 2 years from now. So when do you start counting the dollar amounts?
Mr.
You know?
Mayor, I have a goal. How about we grow the grand list more than the 0.02% it has grown in the last 2 years that
Sure.
you've been on the
Sure.
council? Okay.
If you think that's good enough, like,
I don't, but it's a goal.
Well,
metric.
I'm not going to comment on that because, yeah, if that's good enough, there's something. I'm thankful to you on actually bringing up a metric, which I was searching for like last 15 minutes. So thank you for that. I appreciate that.
2.02% it grew last year.
0.003. There we go.
0.003 or
Pankaj,
0.02, I forget what it was.
What do you think about it? What you need? You just
I'm
don't
not-
say that I
I'm
need
not
something,
an-
but what you need?
Mukesh, I'm not an expert, right? That's why I'm looking to the experts. That's why I started with our director today, right? That was my first question. What do you think is the problem? I'm not an expert. And the metric, we have time. We can define this. We are not voting today.
All right, I get what you're saying.
Yeah.
Let's talk logically.
Yeah.
All right, so is there a way to say, I mean, it'd be a goal. We don't have to, I mean, it doesn't mean we have to actually do it. So is there a way to say, we want to, by getting this position, grow the grand list by, I don't know, what is a percentage that would be realistic? 2%, 5%? That would be a goal that would be something we would want to meet. I'm serious. I mean, I kind of agree. Like, is there a goal that we can realistically think about? And if it is understandable that it's out of our control, that there's lots of factors, but is there actually like a percentage that's even like realistic by having, like, if we actually like really dedicated our time to this, can we say 5%? Is that even, I don't know, a small goal?
Yeah, something reasonable. That's fine. Yeah.
I don't know, is there, I mean, if absolutely you can't, then fine.
I
But
think
is there something?
well, this is just one piece of the pie too.
Yeah.
This is just one piece of the puzzle.
Yeah.
You know,
No, there's lots of things
there's a
that go
lot of
into
other
it.
factors. It's easing the process for permitting. It's all of these other factors that go into this as well. That's beyond the economic development director's control. So the thing is, even a small percentage is still talking about millions of dollars when you're looking at a grand list of 110 million.
All you
or
really
whatever.
need is to build like a house or an addition worth like $400,000.
To be greater than .02. It is true.
202, all right, so.
One business to come.
One expansion of a house, there you go.
And just,
But she's not, the economic director's not going to do anything with residential houses.
no, just
Yeah,
as
no.
an example.
Right.
You know,
Yeah,
just-
exactly.
yeah,
but-
one
but-
house is
But
all the
even,
value.
right, even if we need expansion of businesses, which she is dedicated to.
Well, I mean, unfortunately, we had one very large opportunity that could have grown the grand list by like $1 million a year.
Yeah.
And we're not really getting much from that.
That's a good
And-
point.
What happened?
Do you have any numbers of what
People-
other towns have
All the
grown?
Ames
we
building,
campaigned on
tax
the
abatement.
subject.
There's-
Look, to put this another way, I do hear loud and clear that you want to see some kind of goal that's attached to it. And as the conversation unfolded, I started to hear in my head that maybe you'd even be willing to hear goals that are about a 5-year, a 10-year outlook, that are about long-term, knowing that the dollars don't necessarily come in right away. So I hear you.
That too, yeah. I mean, it might not be a
that's fine.
one-year goal.
Sometimes I feel like I don't necessarily hear from you wanting to be constructive towards the end goal of what you're asking, the wanting a metric. And so or in other things, I hope that we can work on it a little. I apologize for kind of coming back at you pretty snappily there. But I do think that our grand list has been out of balance. The commercial side hasn't really been carrying the weight that we think it ought to, especially for the number of businesses we have and the amount of footprint they have in our town. And that was a valid point. There is a significant chunk of money that otherwise would be coming in due to an abatement that occurred years ago. And we need to find ways to build up our grand list in spite of that. I'm not saying anything about a particular person when I say I do truly believe that if we increase this to a full-time position, any person in that position will do a better job of it than a part-time person, specifically in this type of a field. It's not the exact type of work I do, but I'm in a consultancy space that's around politics and policy. And this is a relationship-driven endeavor. The person in that position needs to go and build some relationships and chase down some leads and start to try and get people to see Rocky Hill as the place they want to be. That's time. That's a lot of hand-holding. I'm telling you, lots of phone calls, lots of emails. It's not easy to just nail down like in one number. But possible metrics, you could have metrics around things that that person can control. How much output, how many leads do they develop and then make communications on? We could develop metrics around that.
I still think that by adding this position and the $90,000 will ultimately contribute to everyone in this town's pockets. And it's worth the investment of $90K to put that money in everyone's pockets because we don't have the $1 million a year that we should be getting. So spending $90,000 to get some of that back, I think, is a good investment.
I got a concern about why are we not having this person write the grants? Why are we hiring another person, or why do you want to hire another person for grant writing?
This job description initially did not have grants involved. It was a part-time, not a director position, but it was I called it a manager position, part-time, specifically to do some of these outreach tasks to help to work with businesses, go door to door, visit some businesses, work on events like what's happening with the mayor right now and the other food things that you've been doing. I don't know exactly what they are. That was the thrust of this current position right now, and also the work on the inventory.
But we're looking to get a full-time position.
Yeah.
Why is the 15,000 still in there?
That 15,000 is to hire a part-time consultant to work on other grants. There were a lot of grants that I couldn't work on. And especially like a lot of the federal grants, takes a lot of time, a lot of research. All the fire assistance to fire grants, which I applied for 4, never got, because there's a lot of work, a lot of data, so, to have 2 people or more than one resource working on grants, I think is a huge benefit.
I fully agree. Some of our capital investments, I've already started looking at grants for things like our tennis courts that we need to redo over multiple years, our the tank at the garage that needs to be replaced. There's multiple grants on the state and federal levels that you can combine and look at and do together. And I think that some of those may require a special consultant to understand and do to be able to win those. So I do agree to have a specified grant writer to be working on those so that we can get that, I'm going to call free money. It's worth $15,000 plus if, maybe the economic developer and Ray could continue to help on some of those more basic regular ones.
So Ray, what kind of qualification you're looking for in that grant writer for $15,000? What kind of qualifications that person will bring?
I don't know, 10 years or more in the business, accessing billions of dollars worth of federal, state.
And how many hours a week they will work?
It depends. It would be as needed. Actually, I do have a proposal.
Yeah, I would love to see that because what I'm getting at is, what is the per hour rate of this person who is highly qualified, paying them $15,000 a year? To Zach's point, seems like a person to me who will look for another job.
No,
Zach, to your logic.
This person is an employee.
This is actually
that's their job.
This is actually a little closer to the space that I work in.
Perfect. I will get some answers here now. Okay, I'm ready, Ray.
Yeah, we're not hiring a person, we're hiring a consultant company.
Yeah, but $15,000 a year is still seems pretty low to me for a consultant.
It is very low.
What kind of person we are going to get?
Because they're hired by multiple other towns and other places, and they work on a job-by-job basis based on how much money they bring in. So they might make 6 figures, and that's their full-time job, just not all from Rocky Hill.
What I'm asking is, how many grants do we, that's why I'm asking, how many hours do you think they will work? How many grants do we want to write, approximately?
I think that it's
A lot.
because we're sitting here. We're sitting here obviously with no hiring process have occurred for this. We haven't even said that this is what we're doing. But I personally, if I were in the position of hiring for this, I would be rather picky. I would be picky looking for somebody who has a background in doing some grant writing. I'm not necessarily so focused on having 10 years of experience. But if it's a firm, yeah, I like the way they're thinking because you're going to direct that firm to the grants that you want them to write. And it's going to be that space where it's either the overflow is because if we have our salary person here do it, it's gonna take too many hours versus they do it at a rate that is frankly lesser per hour, potentially.
And they may have
yeah, I'm just-
templates and, you know, they could do it like that.
But as far
opposed
as,
to our
as far as
person who-
goals, this is obviously not, I would be asking for the goals to be reflective of the types of grants that you would like to see done in terms of. I'd like
Zach,
to
I'm
have
not even
this,
talking
this,
about the
this,
goals
this.
here. Like, what I'm asking is like, it just seems to me like for $15,000, how many people will write grants that are like good quality grants? And like, that's why I'm asking, if you're writing two, makes sense what Alan is saying.
Yeah.
That, you know, okay, yeah, they're a consultant, they take 7,000 on each one, a pop, and they're good, okay? But are we gonna write 2 grants? I
think Ray has some
that's what I'm trying to get
information.
at, like, what is the rate here?
I do
Raise-
agree with you. I want to know more about that.
Ray
too.
has some
Yeah,
information, I think.
Yeah. Did you want to?
How many grants are we writing approximately?
I don't know how many, but it's $110 per hour for the senior partner and $75 an hour for associate grant writer.
So you can back into the number, Ray, right? Like, how many grants are we like?
Depends, you know, it depends on what the goals are, because you don't write a grant unless it's like in our capital budget. So, you know, we have to prioritize the grants, because as you're right, you know, it's not gonna be thousands of grants, but if we can get a few of them, that's, you know, that,
I mean, if
if we can get a few
$1,000
grants that will accomplish some of the tasks that we have in our capital budget, beautiful, for 15,000.
Or even they maybe could review a grant to just make sure that it's putting in the specific verbiage to make sure that we can win it. For example, the FEMA hazard grant for the tank. That's a federal grant that if you, as long as you put the correct words in there to show that there's a risk that those tanks could leak and that there's an actual hazard, you could get the grant, right? It's the nuances and having a consultant review it for an hour or two might win us the grant of, could be up to $1 million.
Okay, now we are to grant reviewer instead of grant writer, so we have
It's a
moved
grant
the goalpost a little bit
consultant.
here,
Okay,
in
maybe
my view,
the
but
line item should be grant consultant instead of writer. Yeah. But I mean, I would advocate for more, but I know we have a tight budget, so I think we.
no, just asking some critical questions, because it doesn't make sense to me, like, to take both sides of this, like, kind of, right, where it is 15,000 will do it, and it will be, you know, enough for us. At the same time, we have a full-time person who should be doing that job, which Ray was doing himself before. That's, yeah. Anytime you're adding positions with a fully loaded $105,000 a year on the taxpayers, I'm gonna ask some difficult questions, even if not the popular guy here. That's okay.
I do have some questions, though. We want to grow the grand list, which we know we want to do. There's very limited properties available to grow the grand list. You being the economic developer in the past, I think you realize that those same pieces of property are still available from when you were there. So I don't know, hiring somebody full-time is gonna make a difference. I mean, they were there when you were there full-time, they're still vacant. I think a lot of it should be the mayor, yourself, or a part-time person all working together to bring these people in. I don't know necessarily we need somebody full-time that's gonna make much of a difference. Just my thought.
Can you also grow the grand list from using existing vacant properties that maybe are not to its full potential? And then those can also bring more growth
property.
as well, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
And that's what
That's
businesses.
another part of it. It's not just vacant, it's also growing, I'm
But
sorry,
that's- you're right.
unused. It's also the,
But that's what a business does.
cycling.
The business would grow itself for profitability. It's not necessarily an economic development person making a difference there. If I want to grow my business, I want to put another piece of property or another building up, I'm doing that on my capital, my reasons to grow my business. It's not necessarily a person from the town that's helping that or changing that.
I mean, if you look at what Weathersfield's doing on Silas Dean, perhaps, that's improving that Silas Dean that we can carry into, if we had a full-time person, we can carry some of their, their strategies and bring it into our stretch of Silas Dean. I mean, there's a lot that can be done there, carried down, so people can come from Weathersfield into Rocky Hill too. So there's other things you can do, and this is not my forte, but that is something to me that seems kind of obvious.
Sorry, if I can chime in for a moment. In the year and a half that I've been here, I will say that I've heard from business owners that it does make a difference to have an economic development person within Town Hall, to be that point of contact, because there are a lot of people, whether they're residents or business owners, and they just don't know who to talk to. Like, they don't want to go directly to the town manager. Maybe that's a bit intimidating. And, you know, the mayor, that could also be a similar issue. And in any case, it's, you know, business oriented. And I've had phone calls with people or in-person visits where they're like, I've been searching for somebody like you, and I'm so glad that I found you. And having that conversation and keeping in touch with people, and you know, getting updates about like, hey, how's that grant going? How's that expansion coming? Is there anything I can do for you? It goes a long way, even if they're, you know, they could be looking at other towns. I've had Joseph Merritt, for example. They're at 301 Hammermill Road. They were looking at Middletown. They were looking at Weathersfield and Rocky Hill, and they were kind of torn about where to go. And they had called my office, and I called him right back. I spoke to him right away, and he was impressed by that. And he was like, oh my God, you answered my phone call immediately. And you know, it's so nice that I can get a hold of somebody and have that person to talk to get this going and have conversations. And that took a lot of time. It was like a year that we were working on getting them into Rocky Hill. And they were in Hartford. Their headquarters was stationed in downtown Hartford for about 100 years. And so after 100 years being there, they chose Rocky Hill. And if I wasn't here, I don't know if that would have happened.
Yeah, and this person could also help push Rocky Hill on social media, like those sort of things, right, too? Like,
Well, this is a union position, so we'd have to wait and see what the criterias are, you know, of the job description.
oh, I see.
It'd be nice to do all that, but we gotta live within the union. It would be nice.
And Councilor Wren, I mean, you make good points. We have limited amount of space, but I think that's a really good example of that's developed land that was vacant business. That building is still essentially worth the same amount. So the real estate taxes are not any different than a new business is coming in. But this business coming in, I think, is like a printing company. They have a lot of equipment. That equipment is personal property. That personal property is taxed.
But we did that with a part-time person. That was excellent. We accomplished that. You know, I'm glad she was there to work with that person. That's fantastic.
Yep, my point is just there's other opportunities like that.
Okay.
You know, I mean, we've certainly got some empty businesses, the lottery building, things like that, and trying to connect some of those pieces. And you're right, like I get contacted occasionally about things in town, but I also have a full-time job, you know, and so it's good to have somebody here, but they're not working 7 days a week, answering the phone late at night, and we don't expect, you know, somebody who's part-time to do that all day, every day the same way, you know.
I agree.
Or any day, or any particular day, because sometimes it is that you go the sprint within the marathon, you've got a hot lead, you are actually running hard on that, you're trying to chase that down. Sometimes you have a stretch of a week where you got to put in a lot, and if you're,
Right?
I don't know where we land on this in the end. I just know that I hear valid points on both sides about where we need to be focusing our thoughts on it.
Yeah, this is a healthy discussion.
I just got one more line item question about the arts and culture events. What is that about, Mona?
We should ask her. It's not my department. I'm sorry.
Well,
I'm going to let her first.
Well,
Go.
Go ahead. Sorry.
You know,
Is
once
that a new thing or
the-
what? I don't recall that. in the past.
Well, one of the goals within the Economic Development Commission is initiating an arts and culture movement. I know I spoke about that last year with you all. And so, especially with the public artwork policy being updated, I hope to work with, you know, Rocky Hill Arts Now to put on more events throughout the year. and not even just events really, but kind of, well, it is under marketing technically, but to promote the art and the culture we have in town that will in turn entice people to visit here, to move here, open their business here. It kind of goes hand in hand when you have economic development that centers on the culture of the town and uplifting that and highlighting that, it attracts people from all over. So I would like to do, there's a lot of potential there, and I'd like to do more with that.
Thanks. So with Mona, I'm just breaking that down,
Yes.
because I'm learning this
You're good.
layout, what you're doing.
Yep.
We
So
had
it was-
nothing
yeah, it-
budgeted for that in
Yeah.
2026, yet we're spending $2,500.
Okay, we're gonna go
How's that?
back to my, I know, I'm gonna torture with my class. So, marketing, I don't know, you're gonna watch the screen with me if you want to. So, right here, that's what we had last year, is this marketing line.
Okay.
That was 4,000. All right. She's expecting 25 this year, because they got a kind of a late start, and still 4. This line that's called Arts and Cultures is the description of the marketing.
So it's
Is that
it's
a new
no
line item?
increase.
Not a new line. Marketing has been there for this year.
No, marketing, but what
Right.
about the arts and culture?
Arts and Culture is telling us, how is she spending that marketing budget?
Okay.
Right. So indented is giving you the description of how she's spending that marketing line.
It's not an
Any other
increase.
initiatives besides arts and cultural events that could fall under marketing that you thought could help us?
Well, it kind of falls in between whether it's an art or a culture, but
Or Restaurant Week.
there's
But marketing, I mean, I'm just talking marketing. I mean, you have 4,000 for marketing.
yeah. I mean, I feel like that's definitely
Like,
enough.
could that be a social media? We just talked about something, getting somebody to do
Or
that for
something,
us?
the promotions around the Restaurant Week that.
Well, yeah,
that you're
there's a
talking
lot of
about
like
doing some
social
stuff around that,
media, graphic design. Like we worked with a graphic designer to do the strolling maps, and potentially helping with like the restaurant campaign, food campaign that we're going to be doing, in terms of like creating a new logo and
Shoppy Hill.
Shoppy Hill Saturday that I did on Small Business Saturday last year. So,
Could this part of the budget for this position be used to fund, I'm sure, I'm just stepping back and I apologize if it was brought up.
Line item. That's what we're talking
We're
about.
in marketing.
Yeah.
Perfect. So this could be used for geo-targeted social media advertising in our town to promote these events. And frankly, on some of these platforms at a pretty substantially inexpensive rate, to reach our residents about these events that are happening in town.
yep, yeah, I totally agree. And obviously, I'm on social media. I think I'm good at using it, and that would be no issue. I could definitely do that.
In addition, it has been used to market the town in general as far as trying to attract manufacturing nationwide. You know, you can put ads, online, and also even hard print, they're still doing that. Like Site Selector magazine is online and hard print. We've advertised on that a few times, so, you know, we're not just focusing on retail and small business, we're focusing on larger, high value.
There are definitely ways to use that traditional print marketing in very targeted ways. You know, you develop an industry in an area that you're really trying to go after. Because I can see how it could be helpful.
I have one last question. Is this, if it gets to be a new job position, is this going to be posted, or are we just having this person?
Yeah, we have to go through the normal process.
Okay.
Posted internally first, because it is a union job, and then market outside, have
What do you
whole interview
mean,
process.
what do you mean internally first?
It's a union job. So all union, we advertise in-house first
Okay,
for union members
Okay.
to apply before it goes public. I think it's 2 weeks or a week, and then we'll go advertise public.
okay, thank you.
All
I'm
right.
late for my meeting, so we gotta keep going.
All right.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you, Alondra.
Thank you,
Thank you.
Alondra. Thank you, everyone. And legal. Is this additional legal?
Yep.
All right.
So it looks like it's a reduction of legal.
It is.
What page?
82.
Yes.
You want to go with it?
Library's last, yeah.
Yeah, labor, okay, you can go with it.
Okay.
Yeah,
So,
we're-
yeah, we're tag teaming to it, Ray, I'm so sorry.
I'll let the expert go, please.
So, yes, there is a reduction on this line. We have already contracted for general legal. We've got the town attorney, we did the contract for support services, will be some of those maybe special, obviously, services that we've had. No changes in there. We are doing a reduction on tax appeals on there. That's the greatest change in that page. We've been working very closely, town manager, myself, and the assessor, at trying to get a better handle on our tax appeals and looking at them before they go into the legal fee level. And we feel confident that we can keep that at the 40,000. There's the high level if there's any questions.
No questions.
What is the year-to-date on the services? It's,
Actually, we are over. Right now, the year-to-date is 15,075. And we did have an outside agency that had to do a specialized service for a legal issue.
where would that money come from, the over-budgeted part?
Ideally, as we close out the year, for example, tax appeals right now, year-to-date is at 49,000. So our first goal is to have it balance itself within that page. So the under-expended of one line will cover the over-expended of the other. So we're still in good standing on that page.
Good.
For the tax appeal part of that, we're looking better in that area because we're further away from revals as well, is that?
That's, definitely part of it.
Yeah.
Definitely part of it. As we get to the next reval, we'll have to revisit that number, because obviously the volume. But I think we're also looking at some of the ones that are out there that are lingering on how to address them. Do we review it? Do we settle it? Do we fight it? And I think we've really got a good team working on that. Better handle on the costs.
Okay. Anything else? No? All right. Thank you, legal. Which brings us to the library.
Best.
Thank you for your patience.
Our final guest tonight is Mike Murphy, Library Director.
Good evening. Yes, my name is Michael Murphy. I am the library director over at the Rocky Hill Library. If you'll indulge me for a minute, I'm just going to talk a little bit about the value of the public library to our community. I don't also want to miss thanking those who submitted the public comments in support of the library, so I appreciate that very much. So at the library, we focus on having a great staff, and that includes excellent customer service, and I think we are known for that. Providing great programs and events for all ages, that includes babies all the way to seniors, and having a great collection, excellently curated by the professional librarians that we have. We strive to play a key role in providing an increased quality of life to town residents. And I'll just go through some of the things that we provide in the goal of providing an increased quality of life. We provide free access to information. That includes ebooks, books, audiobooks, newspapers, and academic databases. This helps bridge the knowledge gap regardless of income of residents. We provide digital access and technology. This includes free internet and computer use, printing, scanning, and technology assistance. And this is also critical for people without reliable home access to these services. We provide education and lifelong learning for all ages. We provide literacy programs for children and adults. We have workshops on topics like coding, job skills, and languages. We provide early childhood development. We have story time sessions and reading programs, again, for babies, preschool, elementary age. Support language development and school readiness through things like our 1,000 Books Before Kindergarten program. We have plenty of community engagement, events, book clubs, lectures, and cultural programs. We provide job and career support. We provide help with resume, job search. We provide a safe and welcoming space for the town. It's a quiet place to study, work, or relax, and we work hard to provide a friendly atmosphere where everybody is welcome. We provide cultural enrichment. This includes things like art exhibits, music events, and author talks. And I think one of the big things is that we provide cost savings for individuals. So all of these things that I'm talking about, you get for free with access with your library card. You can borrow instead of buying books, movies, and tools. All of the programs that we provide are free. We do not charge for any of the programs that we do, and there are a substantial number of them. And we even provide now things that you wouldn't expect libraries to provide. For example, we provide tools that you can check out, metal detectors, hotspots, Wi-Fi hotspots, musical instruments, and of course things like museum passes. So we have a robust collection, like I say, excellent customer service. And I just want to point out, just pulled the report this morning of some of the statistics of where we stand so far in this fiscal year and some of the numbers that we have. So we've done so far this year 520 programs. We've had over 14,000 people attend these programs. So they can be as small as, 5 people coming to a technology session or 500 people coming to, for example, like the art history show. We have participants per program, average about 27 people come to the programs that we provide. We have, so far this year, we have a door counter. We're at 66,183 people have walked in the door. I can't guarantee that they're all unique, but that's what our door counter is telling us. We provide research and reference. So we've had about 5,271 questions. That includes things like reader's advisory, help with technology, help on the public computers, things like that. We have 7,355 residents who have library cards. And we're always looking to increase that, of course. And in terms of our computer usages, we're sitting at about 5,100 internet and computer sessions where somebody has gone onto the public computers and logged in. So that's just to give you a summary of just how busy we are. We're very active, always looking to be on the cutting edge of programs and providing things for all ages for the community, like I say, to increase quality of life. We have several goals here. Just recently we purchased and are hoping to upgrade our public computers. They're a bit old, a little long in the tooth. And so I'm looking forward to having them installed. So we're going to be upgrading the public computers, and we're hoping to increase computer sessions based on the fact that they're going to be a lot more usable to the public. Of course, we're always looking to increase library visits by providing a lot of the things I just spoke about, excellent customer service, great programs, and a great collection. One of the big things for the library coming up is that we, along with the other members of our library consortium, which is about 34 libraries, we are migrating to a new software, which is a huge deal. Some of it is mandatory, some of it is optional. We plan to include all of the optional components. That means that eventually, hopefully by the end of next year, this is why it's one of the goals, patrons will be able to have an app that will have all of their information related to the library in one place. So for example, they'd be able to use the app to see what they have checked out, see what they have on hold, see what museum passes they have reserved, see what programs they have signed up, everything in this one app. That's going to take some time, but that's going to be one of the major things. And of course, I mentioned being a safe and welcoming space. One of the other goals is to improve the comfort for patrons through new furniture and space configurations. Because some of the furniture we have in the building, has been there for a long time, and we always want to make the building a welcome, safe, and comfortable environment. And I think that goes a long way for having people come into the building and spend some time there. So that's a kind of general overview. Happy to answer any questions.
You talk about that okay, first of all, I would, if I wasn't here, I would be submitting a support letter as well, because my sons are in the library every week. My sons sit in the corner on every Wednesday getting tutor with his tutor. They come in and take every Wimpy Kid diary book. They do
That's
the chess
wonderful.
cub that the Mr. Kalen talked about. We attended the putt-putt event and love that. And I love to see the local schools display their art there.
Yes.
That's one of the things you didn't say. My husband contacted the library to get 3D printing, which is cool. Now we have our own 3D printer, but
Probably spoke to him.
exactly, it was probably him. He wanted some crazy things that you weren't able to do, but that's okay. We have our own 3D printer now. But, and the having the pass to the library also allows you to have things like audiobook access through Audible through Libby and things like that. So
Audio, yes.
that's one thing that also I wanted to say.
Yeah,
But,
thank you.
so you mentioned that, you want these new things, but you're not proposing any increase in anything from last year except for a part-time person, which is desperately needed, and some minor, increases in wages for the staff that's already there, correct?
Correct.
Those are contractual increases on the salary anyways, correct?
Vast majority of them, yes. All the full-time salaries, and I won't steal Mona's thunder, but I know the full-time
Well,
salaries
I
are
think
Mona's,
it
but
is, right?
What's that?
It's contractual.
Oh, it is, yeah.
Yeah.
Yes, they've got 2 bargaining units that are in there, as well as the non-bargaining. The part-times do have increases. There are bargaining unit part-time people. This is the only department there you'll find a 24-hour person, so that is driven by a contractual change. The others, library assistants and so forth, are not bargaining unit.
I think we can, I think you won the award for the most positive letters of support, even beating out the school this year, at least at this point. But some of the things that I think came up even through some of the letters of support were some challenges around staffing. Can you just, share with us maybe some of the challenges you guys have had around that? I recall also, and I think I got an email from a resident too, wondering why the library was closed one day, but I think it was like there was a storm and one person couldn't make it, but there was also somebody else out, and if we're running so thin,
right.
If you could just talk about that.
Yes, of course. So when I took over as the director, the past couple of years, we've lost 2 full-time positions. The assistant director position that I was in previously was frozen in my first year. The second year around, the 35-hour library technician position was also frozen. I eventually was converted into a 24-hour union position, which was helpful. But the problem is when that position became a 24-hour position, it moved into a different line and moved into the part-time line, which meant that we were not able to bring in as many subs and part-time non-unionized staff as we had in the past. And the role of the part-time non-unionized staff is generally to cover the desk, not only so that professional librarians can be doing things like focusing on programs, but also to be covering shifts, for example, on evenings and weekends and subbing for when people are sick and have called out and things like that. So we have been pretty crunched the last couple of years. We've had to get really creative with the schedule. That one night that you mentioned, we did have several people call out sick, and I did not feel that it was safe to keep the building open with 2 part-timers who are generally only there for about 10 hours a month. That seemed really irresponsible. So yeah, it definitely has been challenging. I mean, part of the reason that I asked for the increase in the part-time line was to cover a lot of those things that I just mentioned. Evening, weekend, and other shifts where people are calling out, and give us a little bit of leeway.
Okay, yeah, thanks for that context.
Yeah, I gotta commend you too, by the way, because it looks like you've done a nice job of having the equipment and supplies, like, we don't have a line item increase here, and yet you talk about these new computers and whatnot, so it looks like you're doing a really good job of rolling it as it should be.
Right, yeah, we've tried, I mean, the past several years, you know, we focused on doing the RFID equipment, then tackling the audio-visual, and then tackling the public computers. So it's been sort of like a year-by-year type of thing where we've tried to keep things current, for sure.
Yeah, thank you.
I'm just a little lost because you have budgeted 2026, yet you project to use every penny of it. I mean, every other department we've had have not been up to that amount for dollar.
For which specific?
You budgeted so much money in 2026, and you're projected to use every cent in every line item. Is that?
I'm not sure why it appears there. I think it's mainly just because we're coming in flat. Am I explaining that correctly?
No, we're,
And he actually
Year
intends
to date.
to expend his entire budget, which I would probably at this point say that was an accurate projection.
Okay.
So his estimate is that he will spend every dollar that he's been allotted.
Yeah, we definitely
Okay.
plan to spend the budget. I would say that for sure.
well, I hope only if you need it, not just to spend it.
Well, no, we do need it.
Okay.
Yeah.
I have a
Difference.
question about the staffing, the situation that you had over, and apologies, I don't know, how long have you been director?
2 years,
And
about
before that, you were assistant director
Correct.
for how long?
6 years.
Okay. Anecdotally, I've heard repeatedly from residents about the library feels like it's understaffed. And it doesn't sound like you're coming here complaining about staffing. You're seeking to have some added part-time money to make sure you don't have any gaps. And
Correct.
have situations like what you described coming up where a night comes up where you end up having to close the library.
Right. Correct, yes.
Is it safe to say that even in the way that you're approaching it right now, which seems about as efficient as anybody coming before this council, that this isn't sustainable for the long term? That, just in terms of human burnout, I can imagine that you couldn't go like this for several more years without looking to a future that involves more staff.
I would say that's a fairly accurate assessment.
Okay.
I mean, I wouldn't lie when I would say that having another full-time staff member to what we were in the past, which was a team of essentially 4 reference librarians, would be incredible.
Yeah.
But I'm just trying to be realistic based on the precedent of what I've experienced as a director the past 2 years. So,
I understand
but
that.
indeed.
I would be interested if you're willing to add this maybe as an addendum to this by submitting it to us, but a one-pager, kind of like a memo about what a fully staffed library looks like in terms of staffers, and not to get into too much detail, just what you see that being. And,
Yeah, absolutely.
I'd be curious about that.
Yeah, absolutely.
And thank you for everything you're doing.
Oh, thank you.
Can I ask, just maybe a follow-up question, what Councilor Van Lolling saying? The amount of residents versus non-residents that use our library, I mean, I don't want to get into this, but do we have a lot of non-residents also utilizing the library?
I mean, there definitely are non-residents using the
Right.
library, for sure. I would say that's not a bad thing.
Yeah, no, no, I'm just
and
curious.
in terms of a statistic, I could not provide that with you, or for you. But what I would say is we are known for being, not that I want to put down our neighboring libraries, but we are known as the friendly library. People do prefer to come to our library.
Yeah, who's the mean library?
Yeah, I won't go any further than that, but, yeah, people
Rhymes
do
with
prefer to come.
Smothersfield.
But what I would say is that when non-residents come to our library and borrow our items, we are reimbursed from the state for the cost of that. So we do get a pretty hefty check from the state. So that's not necessarily a loss.
Yeah, so it's not a moneymaker, but it's not a loss.
Correct.
Which is not kind of where it's going, but, sometimes if you become too good.
Right.
It could be a loss, but
Right.
that's good to know.
Right, yeah, we run a report every year, and we track it in our system, and then we submit it to the state, and we are reimbursed.
Yeah, great job, yeah, thank you.
Is that a special revenue fund?
There you go.
He does, yes.
Do we use that for, what do we use that for?
Probably
Books.
go back to the library.
Really, your books and materials, your
Correct.
06 fund is, yeah.
But we were complaining that we cut the last budget, your funding for books. Why aren't we using that money to replenish your books?
I mean,
Done.
it's,
I think, did I bring your, I'm gonna look up your book balance if I have a second for you, sorry.
So there was funding for more books, you just maybe not chose to fund it. There's
well, I
funding.
used the available budget, yeah, that's been allotted for that, for sure.
But there
Yes.
is more money in your funds that hopefully you could use in the future.
Yeah, I'll give you an example. A lot of the special revenue fund, for example, was used to pay a couple years ago for the new copiers that we have.
Good.
So it's been used for things like that.
Excellent.
We also had you may have noticed that our book drop outside has been replaced. We used some of that for that as well. Partially because we were having a tremendous amount of issues with the book drops locking, people somehow moving it out of place, and other bizarre things like that. So those are just some of the.
But I appreciate you using some of that funding instead of the budgetary monies. There are
Yeah.
monies that you can use to improve things.
Oh, for sure. It's definitely used for things, yes, to improve services.
Fantastic. Thanks.
Presently, 40,000,
Okay, in that fund. Great.
That's good.
correct.
I have a quick question, like,
Great.
this should be easy one. Why is that number of library visits down? Is it like, is there any hypothesis you got there?
Yeah, I would say it's a direct result of staffing. I think that the visits are down primarily because,
You are closed more, is that why?
when we originally had the original 40-hour position frozen, we moved from opening from 9:30 to 10 to sort of alleviate some of the pressure on the staff. However, there has been no other hourly changes since then. But I would say that when we have less professional librarians on staff, they are not able to, first of all, you're losing, I'll give myself as an example. When I became the director, when I was the assistant director, I was doing about 60 programs a year. That's not an exaggeration. I was teaching technology classes at least 4 or 5 times a month. I was doing probably 30 one-on-one tech help appointments. And when I became director and that position was frozen, that service was severely diminished. And so you're looking at examples like that where when you're losing staff members, the other staff members are having to, instead of spend time doing programs and things like that, they're having to spend time at the public service desk. And that is a huge part of what we do, and we provide great customer service. But the programs and the events play a key part in library visits and people coming in the
How do
door.
you measure library visits?
There's a door counter,
So people coming in, going out, that's it.
correct.
And so clearly you can break this data into how many people are actually asking for services versus, like you just described, right? Versus people who are just coming in, like me, just checking out a book. You can break that down?
We can measure how many people have attended our programs. We can measure how many people have checked out books.
I would love to see that data, like just
Yeah,
checking out
it's-
your hypothesis, like how many people are actually asking for services that you're not able to provide versus just the foot traffic being down? I would love to break that down a little bit if you have that data. Looks like you have some ability to do that.
Yeah, and I think a lot of it goes back to some of that stuff I shared earlier, where we can break it down into
That would
different
be great.
categories of, you know, what people are using, what they're utilizing, if they're coming to programs and things like that.
Right. So I think that'll be great if you can send it to Mona, I guess, if she can share it with us. And the second part of this question I have is, for a comparable library, right, for our size, what would you think is a good comparison for a town?
I'm sorry, can you say the last part again?
Do you have a comparable town in your mind for the size, the population, et cetera, et cetera?
Our library, right?
Yeah, library, a comparable town.
I mean, yeah, I have a list here of libraries that are a similar size to us across the state. You're looking at libraries, of course, their budget's wild, very,
Yeah, of course.
based on where they are, but generally places like Berlin, Cromwell, Avon, Glastonbury, New Canaan, Newington, places like that.
Do you think Glastonbury is comparable to us?
Relatively. Based on sort of population, and the amount of hours that they're open per week and the amount of staffing that they have.
And do you think
Fairly similar, although we have less.
do you think they're like top of the line in terms of the services they provide? Because I want to compare myself to something which is you feel like as a professional is top of the line, which you aspire to be.
Indeed. That's a hard judgment to make, about whether, I would say that we are top of the line.
But we need all the money. We are not doing enough, right? So it could be either one or the other. So I'm just trying to get
I guess
to
I
that.
don't know what their statistics are.
No, and that's fair. I'm just saying, we do this comparison all the time for schools, right? Let's just say I was doing comparison for libraries and
Right.
just making the case for you that you're severely underfunded. I want to give you 3 more full-time people, which you are lacking since last 2 years. What would you compare it to? Hey, we are talking hypothesis here. Everybody has one, so I'm postulating mine. Yeah, so let's just go there, man. Do you think we can, if we were to reach to, instead of a Dirk D in schools to Dirk B in schools, is there a higher level of aspiration we have for libraries?
I believe we could increase statistics for sure. We could provide more programming. Yeah, absolutely. I don't have any doubt about that. In terms of measuring directly against these other towns, I guess I would need to know their statistics. I could look at the state. The state releases a report every year that does break down statistics by town, which I could look at for sure.
Yeah, and this is more for future conversations. Okay, are we really underfunded, or can we do something different that other people are doing? It'll be just as much as I agree with you that we are doing a great job. You are doing a great job.
I appreciate that.
Then the question becomes do we want to be better? And if you're not looking around, then you're not, I guess, not measuring yourself
I would
to something
say,
else.
the one thing I would
Yeah.
say is that each year we have to provide the annual report to the town, I think around January. And I look at the average, median, et cetera. I wish I had the chart with me, I didn't bring it. I would say that every major category, including visits, checkouts, and program attendance, we are in a higher category than both the state average and state median.
Yeah, that's a good
So
number.
I can say that confidently.
Okay.
I wish I had the chart in front of me, but I don't.
He's the Billy Bean of librarians.
I'm gonna remember that one.
All right, thanks.
And Punkage
Thank
wants
you
to
so
make him
much.
the Yankees.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you. All right.
Thank you.
Anyone else? All right, thank you, Michael. That said, anybody have any final thoughts for Ray and Mona? Any requests based on what we've heard this evening? All right.
I'd just like to make a positive comment to our town manager and finance director because they did eliminate, or they didn't fund some positions when some of these people left. So I think they did somewhat of an efficiency study. We've been talking about that, and we're going to do some future ones, but it's nice to see that they saw some areas where they didn't need to refill. They saw some areas that they do need to fill, so that's what we have to judge here, but it's nice to see that, and I just want to thank them both for that as well.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think one of the quick things that that Mona brought up maybe early on was, we've got some ideas. Well, good. Let's implement them.
Yep, we'll get you on a good start.
Yeah, no, we also
You are
thought that
hereby empowered to implement those efficiencies.
we,
I think we'd all be in unison.
we thought that we would be crazy not to do something after listening to the conversation for such a long time. We had to do something anyway, so.
Good job.
Maybe we
Thank
could add to that, like to help the library, if some of our other departments could hold some programs there. That's like a shared service type thing.
There we go. All of the departments will do shared
I don't know,
services.
but that might take a little off of their plate, but also add to their plate.
How about an economic development summit at the library?
Technology support by Director Sopolik. How about that? Use of cell phones and.
I mean, I do think the point is to bring people to the library for the events. too.
Right.
So
We
we
don't
want
sit
to
at
have
the
them at the
library.
library so people can see the books and come back and, use the services at the library.
Shout out as well, though, to the Friends of the Library that put in a lot of work for the library. All right.
Motion to adjourn.
Second. All in favor?
Yeah.
Aye. All right. Have a great night, everyone.
You.
Yeah.